Hola, bienvenidos. Buenas tardes, buenas noches, good evening, good afternoon. This is Abelardo de la Peña Jr. I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications with La Plaza de Cultura y Artes. Welcoming you to tonight's En Casa con La Plaza. En Casa con La Plaza, of course, is our virtual programming. We've been doing it a little bit over a year since the pandemic started. And now that it's ending, we're going to continue doing En Casas because we like to bring our program directly to you, to your homes, our presentations, conversations, demonstrations, and performances. Before we get started, please, if you join us on Zoom, use the chat feature to let us know where you're viewing from. Make comments, ask questions, use the Q&A feature as well. We'll take them during and or after our conversation with our guests. If you're on Facebook, please do the same. Use the comment section. Let us know where you're viewing from. Use the, ask questions, make comments, do shout outs, lo que sea. We're here and we will be taking your questions and we'll do them during or after the conversation. Our sponsors tonight, Kaiser Permanente and PepsiCo. Thank you so much to our sponsors, and also thank you to the viewers. Before we get started, I'd like to tell you that La Plaza has reopened. We're open from Thursdays through Sundays from noon to 4 p.m. Go to our website, LAPCA, get all the information, including how to make reservations. And soon we'll be opening up even further than that. Our exhibition, Only Light Can Do That, which is part of the We Rise, Art Rise LA initiative in commemoration of Mental Health Awareness Month, LA County's Mental Health Awareness Month, is still continuing. Although the We Rise, Art Rise project has kind of ended now that we're in June, first couple of days of June, we will continue to showcase the artwork of Patrick Martinez, and you don't even have to come into the museum. You could drive by, walk by, bike by, and you could see it day and night. It's a beautiful neon art installation with some important messages for all of us. And then finally, La Plaza is opening up, as I said. We'll start our public programming soon, and please look out on our social media and on our website for all the great programming that we have in store for all of you in the upcoming months. And now about our guests for tonight. If a photograph is worth 1,000 words, a photographer is worth 1,000,000. And who said that? Tupac said that, and that's who we have for tonight. With the raw approach and the ability to capture the essence of artists, LA-based photographer and video director Piero F. Giunti is one of the most creative photographers in both the English and Latin music scene. His photographs have been featured in Rolling Stone, Variety, Billboard, Esquire, Fader, USA Today, LA Times, LA Magazine, and so many more places. His reputation is built on shooting some of the most prominent and emerging artists, models, and sports figures of our times. But tonight, we're going to concentrate on the music and then also some of his travels. Portfolio consisting of some Grammy-award-winning and legendary artists, and we'll be seeing images of them real soon. As a musician himself, he understands the importance of obtaining and setting an unforgettable image. Born and raised in LA, Piero is the son of a Mexican-born mother and an Italian-born father. His multicultural upbringing exposes him to greater understanding of people and social issues. This experience shapes his photographic style, allowing him to draw inspiration from the world's diverse music and cultural beauty. And what a better place to exhibit the world's diverse music and cultural beauty than here in LA and in Casa con La Plaza. So please welcome Piero Giunti. Join us, Piero.
Hey, how are you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. A little nervous, but I'm good.
Nothing to be nervous about. We got some good people out there watching.
Good.
And, I'm not that hard-hitting a journalist that I'm going to ask those penetrating questions. But I am going to ask you, first of all, to tell us about where you're zooming in from tonight.
My office. Yeah, this is my office / everything place right here. So yeah.
Well, you have quite a few memorabilias out there, some posters, some etchings, some drawings. Just point a couple of them out to us, please.
Okay. One of my most recent prized possessions that I'm very grateful for from a mutual friend of ours, Perez of Los Lobos, gave me gifted me that piece, which is one of his pieces that he has that I forgot which album it appeared on, but there's that. Through my work that I've done with Dia de los Muertos, I received from the Guadalupe Posada Museum in Aguascalientes what they call a original restrike, which they grabbed the one of the original prints, I mean stamps, and created a print of La Catrina Garbancera, which is this one, and I have one right over here, and my photo of Public Enemy, which you'll show everybody later, which is signed by everybody, and right up here is what I work for. When I'm not shooting, I work once in a while with major fashion photographers that you'll see in like Vogue magazine or Glamour magazine, or even major music photographers. And one of them is Danny Hastings, who shot the original 36 Chambers album for Wu-Tang. That's one of the prints as well. So.
Man, that's quite a wide range. First of all, and tell us about your career as a musician. What type of music did you play, and how did you transition from being a musician to a photographer?
It kind of came at the same time that I was lucky enough to go to a school where the photography and the video department were as good as a college class for photography and video as well, and so because I also grew up with a lot of music in the house and albums, seeing all that kind of, it's like, okay, I want to play guitar. I've always wanted to play guitar, and I'm looking at these album covers, and they both kind of influenced each other at the same time. So the music that I played was everything from metal to música andina or Andean music to rock en español to everything. I play about 4 instruments, which is the guitar, the bass, the charango, and the jarana veracruzana. So it just kind of that all influenced, and then with the photography and being the musician, I photograph musicians the way I always wanted to be photographed. So,
well, that's pretty cool, being able to combine those two really art forms. But right behind you, we have Public Enemy, which is something you didn't mention as part of your background. But tell us about
I thought I did
your career with Public Enemy. How did that get started?
Yeah, so with Public Enemy, I met Public Enemy at one of the benefit shows that they were doing in Skid Row with Pete White of LA Can. This is how I hate to call it luck, but kind of the luck has gone with me, is that through networking and always having a camera with me, they were playing the show, and I was the only photographer kind of allowed on stage and off stage. And the way that I shoot is I jump off and on stage, and you see me behind the drummer 1 second, you blink and I'm on the other side of the stage, and you blink again, I'm over here, and you blink and I'm off the stage. And so I just happened to see Chuck D and his wife, Dr. Gay Teresa Johnson, with their child, and I saw them talking, and I said, "Oh, hey, do you mind if I get a photo of you guys?" And they're like, "Sure." So I take the photo and I show it to them. The great thing about digital cameras, you could show them the back of the screen. And so I show it to them. Chuck whispers something into her ear. They both laugh, and he walks away. And she comes up to me and says, "Piero, Chuck loves that photograph. We just worked with some big LA photographer, and he's like, that one photograph was better than that photographer. How would you like to join us for Grammy weekend? The band is going to be inducted into the Grammy Museum, and we need some photos for not only that, but the new album and a few other things." And I said, "Yes, let's do it." So the next thing that happened was 2 weeks later, or a week later, I got a phone call from Chuck D, and we kind of planned everything out. And since then, from there, I worked with them for 5 years.
Incredible. So this was both on tour and plus album cover art, publicity photographs.
Yeah, so you can't see them, but there's three main albums, and then 2 singles that I did the work for. That one photo shoot at the Grammy Museum, plus on top of one of the buildings in Skid Row, and all throughout Skid Row. kind of were used for a lot of things. So I just honestly, coincidentally, and I had it here, but I just received this book after waiting for a long time. But one of those photographs that I took from that day just is inside this book that Chuck just put out. So or put out about 2 years ago. But I just
Fantastic.
I just received it today.
Oh, fantastic. Well,
Yeah,
that's quite a memory
yeah,
and a great way to start a career. And
yeah,
if you don't know who Public Enemy out there, let's see, they've done a 25 years worth at least of
yeah.
some radical hip hop, rapping, Flavor Flav, Chuck D, and
Professor Griff, yeah.
Professor Griff and the G Squad or
Oh,
the
it's
Terminators.
the Terminator X and the S1Ws, and then they also have DJ Lord, which is the who took over for Terminator X, and he's an amazing turntablist as well.
Oh man, but that's quite a way to start. But as you said,
Yeah,
you know, concert photographs.
yeah,
I'm going to show this one because I love this shot. There's nothing like live music. Of course, we've been missing it for so long, and it's finally coming back.
yeah.
But as you say, in front of the stage, behind the stage, there's the opportunity to take some great photographs. So tell us about this one here.
So this is one of, I believe, the first show that Prophets of Rage, which Prophets of Rage was the three members, three of the four members from Rage Against the Machine, Be Real of Cypress Hill, and Chuck D and DJ Lord of Public Enemy created a band, a supergroup, and they called it Prophets of Rage. And so that was the first major show that they played at the what's the one in Inglewood, like
Forum.
the Forum. Yes, that was it. So that's the first show that they played at the Forum, and then so yeah, that's the photograph, right? That's the first song. So as the first song, usually you get three three songs, and that was the first song, and Tom just going crazy. Which there should be another one. I don't know if I sent you the one of him yelling, um, but yeah, that's the craziness of what that show was all about.
No, you sent us a whole lot of photographs. It was very, I'm going to tell you, it's very difficult to
Yeah,
get them down to. So we, for the little time that we have here in Casa con la Plaza.
totally fun.
But hey, we're going to welcome Ingrid Aravelo from Burbank. Thank you for joining us, Ingrid. Jesus Chuivelo, viewing from LA.
Yeah.
Danny Rodarte, it's going great, viewing from Alhambra on Zoom, and Ed Tellis from LA South. And then on Facebook, we have Susie Chavez watching from Montebello.
Cool.
Well, I was saying, concerts are really where you just not only hear the music, you feel it, you see it, you sense it. Tell us about, let me see if this one comes out. Tell us about this one here.
That is Ed O'Brien from Radiohead. He is one of the guitarists of Radiohead, and he was playing Hollywood Forever Cemetery inside their building. They have a venue in there, and that was his first show as well, doing his solo album. And so because of the work that I've done in the past with Hollywood Forever, they hired me to come in and to just document their small shows that they have there, which I think only fits about a little under 500 people. So that was which that photo ended up being a lot of his press stuff for his that new album that he had at the time. That was right before COVID. This is a great band, a duo. They're husband and wife by the name of Sylvan Esso. I can't remember where I shot this, but this was for Red Bull, one of the Red Bull shows, and their show is just amazing. It's just the two of them and the energy. It's just, I hope that's one of the things that I hope that the photographs capture the energy that I feel at those shows as well. So hopefully that photograph shows the essence of that band.
Well, this one here definitely shows the energy of the crowd, but especially of the performer. Who's this?
That is Brenton Wood at the Self-Help Graphics, and he's in Boyle Heights. He's playing for the Dia de los Muertos event, and I stopped him. That was right as he was walking off the stage. I said, "Mr. Wood, stop! Just turn around." And he puts puts the peace sign up, and I just take the photograph. So.
Oh man! So you're able to document, these concerts, live concerts. I'm sure it's a crowded field because there's so many people snapping away. But you seem to really, like you said, make that connection with the musician, with the musicians that really come to life in the photographs that you take.
Yeah. It's so I'm assuming the question is how do I get that connection, or how do I get the access?
Let's talk about both.
Well, it's networking. It's networking, and the joke that's not really a joke is network with everyone and their mother, because the way I became or the way I was able to photograph Tom Morello and become friends with him, that I've known him for about 21 years, was because my mom took me to go see him speak at USC with an anti sweatshop campaign that he was doing, and from there, his mom was there, and she said, "Who'd you come with?" And I'm like, "Oh, my mom." And she's like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna go sit with his mom. You sit next to Tom." And from there, every time I saw him, I just made sure to say hi, and I would give him a photograph, or we just talk about everything but music, in a sense. It's kind of like he doesn't want to hear that stuff. They just talk about politics and life, and so every time from there, and so that that helped, and then him seeing my work, and the access as well is sometimes you have to sneak in, and sometimes you just have to act like you belong, and that's the reality of a lot of things, is you have to act like you belong. And the my girlfriend's gonna laugh because she's on here watching this, that the most recent advice that is, don't be weird. Don't be weird. Just kind of, you're there. And I think the other, and then the major thing is as well, if you have that access and you're giving that access, make sure you respect it 110%. No one wants a TMZ there. No one wants if you're allowed to be backstage, just you respect that with everything. And if you want to ruin it, take that photo that you shouldn't be taking and do what you want with it. But yeah, you respect the access that you're given. So
Man, and you've had some incredible access, and you talked a little bit about Dia de los Muertos at Hollywood Forever. So we have a concert shot taken there. Tell us about this one, please.
So that was my first year. So I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it, but I can't talk about this year. It may not happen, or I don't know. But this is my first year working for Hollywood Forever as their in-house photographer, and the headliner that year was Saul Hernandez from Caifanes and Jaguares. And that photograph, I feel, really described the night. Is he was feeling the music so much that it's just. And I asked him after. I showed him the photo, and he's like, "I don't know what I was doing there." He's like, "I just felt it." And he kind of just roared, He just roared, and again, Dia de los Muertos, there at Hollywood Forever, and just in general, that the opening between this world and the other world really comes out, and a lot of the artists that play most of the events from like a Dia de los Muertos event really feel it, mostly if it falls on Dia de los Muertos as well.
Yeah. Well, Dia de los Muertos, of course, at Hollywood Forever is not only the music, but it's also people really honoring the day itself.
Oh yeah.
By scenes like this of really trying to be not only authentic, but really even pushing the authenticity with personal style. So we have this one, and then of course we go back to our ancestors here.
Of course, yeah. And I think that's one of the things. I know it's not, I feel that so just with this photograph that you're showing right now, let me just, before you go to the next one. So the tree of life that we know, that the statues that are made, this is the original family who created them.
Wow.
And I'm totally skipping on their name, but we brought them out there to be the official artist of the year, and they created about a 5-foot version of the Tree of Life for Hollywood Forever and that event. But with Dia de los Muertos, one of the things that and I know this could be debated, but one of the things that, at least since I've been there, and this is going to be my 10th year, that is to fight to keep it as traditional as possible, and to, I keep it as traditional as possible, and keep all those things that people love about Dia de los Muertos, keep it to its original somewhat core, even though it's a huge concert, and it's basically a music festival as well.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna show a video clip here, which I believe you shot and directed.
Yeah. So every year I have a crew about 10 to 20, and I direct the short documentary, as I like to call it.
All right. Well, let's show it here.
Who are you honoring today for Day of the Dead?
A todas las personas que aún quizá todavía no mueren, pero viven muertas sin escucharse por dentro y sin ser felices todavía, sin saber qué es la felicidad. Para mí, por ejemplo, la felicidad es hacer lo que más me gusta y eso me libera mucho. Entonces, habemos muchos muertos que estamos vivos.
Hollywood Forever, Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos, is a very special experience. From the minute you enter the cemetery, you are bombarded with stimulation of color and sounds and smells, everyone coming together and enjoying the fact that we're not here forever and we want to keep our memory alive. And what a great way to celebrate it in a positive way.
Anunciando el norte, bailan los cucuyos en la linda noche.
The Dia de los Muertos at Hollywood Forever is the largest in the U.S. And, we're showing the nation that we exist, that we're gonna come together and celebrate our traditions that have been passed down for generations. And we're taking a stand that while walls are being put up, we're breaking them down with culture, with love, with music, and enhancing, people's lives and communities with our culture.
Brotaron los lirios, las ceibas inmensas, la lluvia acarrecia la neblina densa. Un jilguero canta solo en la memoria, fragmentos de historia que no volverán. Madre tierra, madre tierra, madre tierra, madre tierra. Señor del agua, del viento y su...
When the sun sets over Dia de los Muertos, you have a sense of calm. I think that what makes it very special is it's an opportunity to see the space transform from one that is for the living to one that is definitely for the dead. All altars are lit with candlelight and cempasúchil. It's an opportunity for us to sort of forget about our temporal bodies and experiences and transform to spirit, to really be as one with those who are coming back to celebrate and enjoy the night with us.
Man, that's beautiful. So tell us about the transition from still photography to videography.
It came again from high school, wanting to. I became, well, it starts with me being politicized, and I was politicized like many people, either the summer before 9/11 or right after. And for me, it was the summer before, and being introduced to bands like Rage Against the Machine, and seeing their reading lists and things like that, and then seeing the people who they recommended for documentaries. And one of the people that they recommended was Michael Moore, and seeing what he was doing and telling the story, or putting out the political views and the things that needed to be seen in the world. I said, that's what I want to do. And then with that, wanting to make documentaries then came the music side of it, which is like, okay, make music videos and do all these things. But I just wanted to, I'm a very visual person. I was a horrible student in school. I'm, was very bored with a lot of things. And at the moment that I had the camera in my hand, it's just kind of, it just kind of revolutionized everything for me. And I was able to just tell my story and tell people and show people the things that I was seeing. So video really helped with that. And then so I got to add the visual side and the musical side into one.
Beautiful. Well, we're going to take a little turn into another part of your career here. But before we do, I'm going to just welcome some of our viewers here. Cynthia Pierce from the Central Valley. She loved the outfits of the Dia de los Muertos. Brewbreaker Brenda Brewbreaker from San Gabriel Valley. Thank you for joining us. Velma de la Rosa from Whittier. Ana Bermudez watching from Ventura, and Lupe Arriola, one of our board members from Fort Worth, Texas. What are you doing in Fort Worth, Lupe? And Margaret Bustamante watching on Zoom from Rowland Heights. All right, so we're going to take a little turn. Like I said, Dia de los Muertos, very traditional Mexican holiday, which has been brought over to the United States in all kinds of different forms, but Hollywood Forever does it beautifully. South of Graphics, of course.
Yeah.
As does La Plaza de Cultura y Artes with our family day. But then you took I'm sure you've taken more than one trip to back to Mexico. So let's share some photographs that you took there.
Abelardo, can I just say this about Dia de los Muertos? It doesn't matter the size of the event; it's how you celebrate it, and if you celebrate it with the right intentions. Because I know that's a thing that people kind of talk about, but that's all I want to say about that. Is that Self-Help Graphics has a beautiful Dia de los Muertos. We've Hollywood Forever and Self-Help have collaborated as well, and hopefully La Plaza can. If there is an event this year, I don't know what to say about that, but maybe La Plaza and Hollywood Forever can collaborate and maybe have a booth there to do an educational thing as well.
Right. So. Good suggestion. We have a question here real quickly. Margaret Bustamante is asking, what high school did you go to?
I went to school in Burbank, which is John Burroughs High School in Burbank. And that's where I was going to school there, but I was living in the San Fernando Valley and deep in Pacoima. So.
All right. Laura Sanchez Kincaid visiting from Fort Worth, watching in Lincoln Heights. Welcome, Laura Kincaid and Cristina Magallanes Jones. Hola desde La Crescenta. Thank you, all of you who are joining us in this conversation with Piero Giunti, photographer and video director. And just popping in, Max Gallegos. This is fantastic. Saludos from the OC. All right. So like I said, we're going to take a little turn into some of your travels, your other journeys where you actually physically go to another place. And so here's a real quick, some shooting that you did. Tell us about them, please.
That is a flower market in, I believe, Sayula, or Sayulita, which and you guys can correct me, but it's in Jalisco. That there was a small town there that we stopped on the way to another place, and again, for me not to wait in the car and not to be bored, I just pulled out the camera and I was like, I'm gonna go for a walk, and I started just photographing the market, and it was a flower market on one side, produce on the other, and then there should be a like the butcher as well on the other side. And I just asked the lady, I'm like, oh, great. Like me, I'm a vegetarian, but I don't hate people who eat meat or anything like that. But seeing that was new to me, and I was like, oh, hey, do you mind if I take a photograph? She's like, sure. And she just started laughing. She's like, no one's ever taken my photograph. And I was like, okay. So she has this big, beautiful smile, and she's laughing at the same time that I'm taking that photograph. But
here for as a non-meat eater, you're photographing this taqueria here. A lot of action. I really love this series here, in which you show, a lot of teamwork, similar to a concert stage, I imagine, in which everybody has a role and executes. Yeah.
So this is, as I was told, the world famous taqueria, which is El Borrego Viudo in La Ciudad de Mexico, and again, being the non-meat eater, my friends were eating there, and I said, all right, well, it's great you guys eat. I don't want to watch, like, again, it doesn't bother me to watch people eat meat or anything like that, but I was like, I've been in the car with you guys for way too long. I'm gonna go take a walk again. Pulled out my camera and I just started photographing, and I started realizing that the kids that were working, the kids are like the waiters taking all the orders for people, and they would run back and forth to the cars, and that was a new experience for me, and I didn't know because no one really prepped me for that place, but just seeing the action and how much like you said, the teamwork that was happening there at the restaurant. It's just for me the more action there is, it's like I'm a kid in a candy store. I'm like everywhere trying to figure out where to shoot, and it's like just like the concert. I'm running around. I'm going around cars. I almost got hit by a car, like just trying to take a photograph, and it like I love all of that stuff just to photograph, and I love to document, and I want to tell, you know, for me that which I I know some of the photos we're going to show a little bit later, but for me, it's telling the human story as well. It's like, okay, great, this is a great place. The tacos are great, but I want everywhere I go in the world, I don't want to stay in the hotel. I want to stay in an Airbnb or where where people are at, and I just want to capture the human side of things and tell the story of the people that aren't always told, or yeah, told about. And and it's just one of those things that I had a conversation the other day at a restaurant. I just had, as I told you earlier, I like to talk and I talk to strangers. My girlfriend is the same way too, and so we meet this couple and we're just talking and one of the things that I want to promote with my photograph when I travel, my photographs when I travel, is that these, like, the people that live in these places aren't props. Now, again, I work in the fashion industry where we're shooting for Vogue magazine and Masoni brand and Guess and all these people, but at the same time, sometimes those brands use the people of color or indigenous people as props, and that's not what I want. I want to tell their story too. So and humanize them in a sense. Maybe I don't know if I'm using that correctly, but it's just humanize them and show the world that, hey, these people exist. They're not just kind of, oh, look at the cool people over there, yeah.
All right. Well, here's the next little turn that we're taking here. Basically, my meeting you at La Plaza de Cultura y Artes and trying to humanize a sound, basically the East Side sound. This is
Yeah.
I got a call from our CEO, John Echevesta. I hope you're out there listening tonight, John. If not, you'll watch this later. But about opening up a room, a conference room there for a photographer who's on an interesting project, who's doing an interesting photography. So tell us about it before we show some of the photos.
He's working on an interesting project and driving the security crazy. Yeah. The project that I'm working on it goes by the name of A Great Day in East LA. And that project is something that came to me literally in a dream. I woke up one day, or I had a dream of the original photograph, which is called A Great Day in Harlem, which is by photographer Art Kane, who took somewhat of a family portrait slash, like, how when people graduate, they take that big class portrait of all the jazz musicians from 1958. I had that photograph in my head. I don't remember ever seeing that photograph. And for 2 weeks straight, that photo never left my life. Everywhere I would go, it would pop up. And I go to the rehearsal studio in downtown rehearsal, and I believe it's in Boyle Heights. But I'm there and I run into a musician. He says, "Hey man, you know that photograph?" And I stopped him. I said, "Yes, I know that photograph. Don't tell anybody. I'm gonna do it. I'm just don't tell anybody, please." And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "It's called The Great Day in Harlem." He's like, "Yeah, how'd you know?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it. We'll talk about it later." So from there, a person or a band that I was working with at the time go up to, we're gonna open up for Los Lobos up north. And I told them, I said, "Whatever you do, I need to get to that show, and I need a pass." And so I end up going to Northern California, and I sneak in backstage and I speak to Louis from Los Lobos, and I just asked him if this is a great idea. I'd move forward, and he said it was. And then I talked to Lalo Guerrero's son, Mark Riddle, who's an amazing musician and musical historian of the East Side Sound. He accepted it as well. He's like, I'll help you with everything you want. And to that point, I called you guys and I said, hey, I'm going to do this project. This is what I want to do. And as of right now, it's the largest music project to ever be done in Los Angeles, with about 300 interviews of living musicians, obviously, and portraits as well. And hopefully, when this is all done, we're looking on the short list about 500 musicians from the 50s all the way to today, in one photograph, and all genres that have gone through East LA.
All right. Well, here's just a small sampling of the of the photographs that you've taken. Most of them at La Plaza. I'm sure at other places as well, but using a common backdrop, almost the same lighting throughout. And we're just going to go through them real quickly. If you could just tell us who these people are, maybe a little bit about them. All right.
Yeah, so that's Mickey Stevenson, he is the original A&R guy for Motown Records, he's the one who helped sign Smokey Robinson and Marvin Gaye and Diana Ross. And so people ask, what is his connection to it all? And so the connection is as well that he helped a lot of musicians because he came to LA and helped a lot of musicians to move up as well. And he helped, according to him, he helped a lot of the East Side Sound as well, artist, and promote him as well. So, and then you brought up the background. The reason I chose to use the same background and the same color tone with everything was to not distract from anything else and just show the person for who they are and their story. Because the main thing is, like, yes, this is their photograph, but I want you to read and hear or watch their story as well. So,
all right.
That is Trini Lopez. 3 years ago actually. I went to Palm Springs to interview him and to talk about his influence. Not only the project as well is the artists that have influence come out of and contributed to what is known as the East Side Sound. Trini is a big part of that as well. And a lot of people don't know that if it wasn't for Trini Lopez, we might have not had the Beatles. So, because the Beatles opened up for him, and were very influenced by him as well. So they opened up for him in England, and then when they came to the United States, he was opening up for them.
That's an amazing story. I hadn't heard that one.
Yeah.
And we'll be showing the Trini Lopez documentary. Unfortunately, Trini passed away very recently, COVID-19.
Yeah.
But we'll be showing a documentary there, and we're trying to, in fact, find a Trini Lopez tribute band, or at least a band that we could put together playing his hits. So if you could help us out with that, that'd be much appreciated.
I think I do. And actually, I noticed behind this monitor here it's the Trini's business card that has his photo on it as well. So
Cool.
Yeah, he was really cool, and he was very much a champion for Latinos, and the stories that it was just amazing hearing his stories and how Frank Sinatra took him under his wing to help him, and that's how he got the movie The Dirty Dozen. And then he was on that movie for so long that he was losing money, that Frank helped him to get out of that contract as well, and that's why they kill him in the movie as well. Yeah, so there's so many, and he was supposed to be the replacement for Buddy Holly, and a lot of people don't know that either, that he was living with the Crickets, and he, at the same time, the Crickets were in a horrible mental space, and he's like, he talked to the manager, and he's like, I gotta do something. I'm here. It's been like a year. And so that's when he started playing, a lot of the venues around town.
Incredible. All right, here's who do we have here?
That is Teresa Covarrubias. She is the lead singer of the Brats. Amazing story as well. She talks about, again, some of the mental health issues of being a front woman, and one of the issues that I even notice with some of the bands today is that stage fright. It doesn't matter what level you are, that a lot of musicians have stage fright. And one of the stories she tells is being under a table and her bandmates having to pull her out to tell that story as well. So, I mean, to go on stage and play. And that is Mr. Brenton Wood. When we interviewed him, interviewed him at La Plaza, there's a clip which I believe you guys have. I sent to you guys that he, but not for this, but where he's explaining how he wrote Ugum Boogum, and so he's singing the lines and how he does that. So and I'm going to tell this story, and I don't mind if which is hilarious. I told him, I said, Mr. Wood, how does it feel being responsible for half the births in East LA? And he said, hey man, he said, hey man, I won't say the words he said, but hey man, be quiet. I pay enough child support. So yeah, that's yeah. And that is the legendary Aslan Underground. For those, well, I think everybody knows Aslan Underground, but Aslan Underground was one of the LA pioneers of rap rock, rap metal. I should say Chicano rap rock metal. That they even toured with Rage Against the Machine in to Mexico City, have gone over the world, and their lyrics talk about everything from the indigenous rights to everything political that's still going on today.
Well, you like you say, the East Side sound goes beyond just what people may be familiar with, Midnighters, Cannibal of the Headhunters, even Los
Yes.
Lobos.
So yeah, that's sorry. So this is the Banda brothers. We just lost Ramon. I want to say 3 years ago. But legendary brothers who've played with Poncho Sanchez and a bunch of other salsa artists as well. But to what you said about how this project, I named it A Great Day in East LA because I've been working with a lot of the artists, which is about to be 10 years now. I've been working with a lot of artists from East LA, and luckily, and I'm honored to be accepted by a lot of them within the scene and the community, and so I realized too that a lot of the new artists don't know the older artists, and the older artists don't know the new artists. So I was trying to figure out a way for everybody to meet. But by doing all the research, I realized that East LA, when people of color, Black and brown, weren't allowed to play the Sunset Strip, East LA always had its open doors. From Lalo Guerrero's club that he had, to the Paramount Ballroom, to the Kennedy Hall, and all these other places, they accepted them. So Stevie Wonder, before he was Stevie Wonder, he was Little Stevie Wonder. He played through there. Celia Cruz, Tito Puentes, even Bob Dylan has helped out a lot of East LA artists. Neil Young as well have a connection to East LA, and so that's the family tree. The family tree starts in East LA, and its branches go out to the whole world. So when you think about the not only LA culture, but culture that is known for East LA, Japan, Brazil, name it, everyone's accepting it,
All right. What do we have here?
That is Pat Vegas from the band Redbone. Pat, I shouldn't tell this story. Pat is a legendary artist as well. He I don't want to tell that story. You'll when you see the project and everything, you'll see that. But it's an amazing story about the tour life and why you maybe shouldn't mess around with drugs.
Good idea. Right.
Yeah, but yeah, Pat was amazing as well. Olin, and that's a plaza. That is one of the rooms at La Plaza. Olin is a band from East LA that plays. I'm going to be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. Don't kill me for this. But a mix of like Irish music and a bit of Irish music.
Bit of punk.
A little bit punk. Yes, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, they. I've seen a couple of the shows. They do a Pogues tribute every St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
All right, and then we'll stop with that series with this one here.
Yeah. So that photograph, I didn't think I would ever be able to get. So this is the how to describe her. That is Alice Bags of the Bags. She is known as one of the East LA punk queens. She has a presence to her, which is great, and I love it. But sometimes, as a photographer, you want to push people to do things sometimes, and you don't know how to ask. And so I said, I'm gonna ask, and I said, hey, do you want to jump? Even though she had a cane, I was like, do you want to do like a jump like you're in the concert? She's like, sure, okay. And so I took that photo, and that I believe that is in one of her books as well. Uh, and that goes to, if you don't ask, you'll never know. So yeah, so that kind of go
Yeah,
ahead.
and Alice Bag's still active,
Yes.
recording and performing and
Yes.
and mentoring.
Yes.
Being there as a guiding influence for so many artists. All right, well, we're going to take a little turn here into something coming back to La Plaza, but we have Mariana Aguilera. Hi from Mexico. Hola, Mariana. Thanks for joining us. Cosette Muñatones, a fan viewing from San Dimas. Thanks, gracias for capturing Dub 8 at the House of Blues Sunset Strip.
Oh, hey, it's been a while. That was a while back ago. How are you doing?
Special memories captured, especially since venue now torn down. Can't wait to see your next live music shots. God bless and safe.
Hi.
All right. Now, to come back to La Plaza, we met, of course, through your project there at that you've been shooting all these fantastic musicians and people who involved with the music industry. At La Plaza, every year we have our Pobladores Awards, which is our big fundraiser, in which we, of course, try to raise funds, but also honor people that have been pioneers in different facets of Latino life. And a couple years back, we brought in a guest, but then the last one we had in 2019, it's been a while. We had one of the greats in the music scene. And here she is, and you shot these. You had set up a nice little studio behind stage, backstage, and we came up with this one here.
Yes.
That, of course, Linda Ronstadt. She was our Pobladores Awards winner for the year. Very gracious person, and a tribute to her performed by a stage full of musicians.
Yeah, that was well, again, I have to thank you and La Plaza for allowing me to do that, because it photographing Linda, I was told by a few people that she really loved the photo, and I think she's using it for something that she's working on right now. So, and I think it's the last last photographs that someone's taken of her was that one. So portrait.
Yeah.
So
and did you say you try to bridge the old with the new, and here's somebody a little bit newer?
Yeah. I'm blinking.
Yeah,
I'm blinking at Angela. Yeah, I was blinking on her first name. Yeah, Angela. Yeah, she has an amazing voice, and she paid tribute to Linda that night as well.
Yeah, that's Pepe Aguilar's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this person who was a guest who we really didn't know was going to be there.
Yes. So that was an honor. Actually, and I can't. I'm blanking on the person's name right now. But one of
Graciela Iturbide.
yes, it's Graciela Iturbide. But one of your staff members was telling me about her, and I didn't know who she was. So Margaret, the artist Margaret Garcia, says, "Have you met my friend Graciela?" I'm like, "No, she's a photographer too. You'll like her." I said, "Okay," still not knowing who she is. So we're just talking, and I said, "Do you mind if I take a photo?" She's like, "I don't like my portrait taken." I said, "All right, I'll do I talked to her a little bit more, and I was showing. She's like, "Well, where can I see some of your work?" And so I pull out my phone, and I show her a photograph that I took in Mexico, and she sees it, and she's like, "How old are you?" And at the time I was 33, and I said, And she's like, this looks like it was shot in like the 20s, like 20s Mexico. And I said, I'm like, great. I'm like, thank you, because that's the whole thing. One of my major influences is the American photographer Irving Penn and Manuel Alvarez Bravo, who's a Mexican photographer as well. So she's telling me all these things, and she's like, great. She's like, let's keep in touch, all this stuff. And I said, well, thank you, but let's keep in touch. But if I can, I promise you this: if you let me take your photograph and you don't like it, I'll erase it. And she said, okay. So I take her photograph. That's what was taken, and then the artist Patsy Valdez, right? She's a painter, right, or a photographer?
She's a painter.
Both. Okay. So Patsy, who she's like, oh, I don't know, I don't want a photo taken either, or anything like that. And I said, and I tried to get her to take a photo of me and someone else, and she's like, no, I don't want to. I tricked her into doing it. So I have a photo of me and Graciela, and so I told her, hey, I know your medium's painting, so now I have the first ever Patsy Valdez photograph, thanks to of me and Graciela. So, but yeah, that's after, so I get home, and again, how dreams happen. I wake up, I just wake up, and it's something just tells me, go to your bookshelf, and I go to the bookshelf, and I just grab around the book, and I open the book, and I flip and I'm like, why am I looking at this? And I flip it again, and it opens to the artist's portrait, and it was her, and I look at it, I'm like, oh my god, like, and I called Margaret, and I said, Margaret, please set up a meeting again. I figured out who she is, but her work's amazing. From, a lot of people have used her work, from Rage Against the Machine, who used one of her photographs as a single cover, and it's just it was an honor to photograph her, so, and nice to meet her as well and talk to her. And I'm glad that I didn't fanboy at that moment, because again, going back to the original thing I said, don't be weird, just be, keep it cool.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, it comes in handy, like you said.
Yeah.
We have the year before, our honoree was somebody very well known as well, in a different, well, also a musician, part-time musician.
Yeah.
And did not want his photograph taken, but you managed to get this shot right here.
Oh yeah, I think you got to click on it.
Maybe you're right. Okay, let's try that again. All right, here goes. That one.
Yeah, that was an honor too, because one of my favorite, the only movie I was really allowed to watch somewhat was Born in East LA. So from a very young age, that was one of my favorite movies, and getting to meet him and the work that he's been doing for the Chicano community as well, with his museum that he's building. It's I'm just, again, I'm so honored that not only La Plaza believes in me and my work, but that you guys allow me to photograph these legendary people.
Right, and that's of course Cheech Marin, who's will be opening the Cheech, the Museum of History, Arts, Industry, former site of the Riverside Library. So watch out for that. I'm sure we'll be hearing a lot from Cheech when we get closer to the opening. Now that was through the Pobladores, of course. The painting that he was holding was our award given to Cheech, painted by Ana Tortilla by Joe Bravo. A couple of years, or the next year, actually 2 years later, which was just last year, we honored somebody else. We honored a great musical legend and legends, excuse me, that also fit into that the whole theme of your work, and that being these guys right here.
Yeah, Los Lobos. They, man, I without getting emotional, it's just I was, imagine a 5-year-old kid walking down the street to go to play at his friend's house with a Walkman, and in that Walkman he's listening to Los Lobos, and then sees reruns of Los Lobos playing Sesame Street. And one of my favorite bands since I was 5 has been Los Lobos, and now I'm very, very grateful to be working for them. So
now, you said that you'd met Louis years before up north. But when did you start actually working with them?
I worked, I believe it was 4 years ago. When, you might know this, when did the Christmas album come out?
Oh, that was about 2019, I believe. So that was
Okay.
relatively recently. So did you re-meet them at the Pobladores Award when we honored Linda Ronstadt? Is that when you made that connection?
Yes, thank you. Because that did happen. So I photographed them live a few times before that, and Louis mentions to me like, "Oh, hey man, we're a few blocks down, and we've been meaning to call you, but we've been really busy with the new album. Do you want to like, you want to come down and take some photos?" And I said, "Sure, okay, just call me." And then a few weeks went by and nothing, and then I get a call, "Hey, come on in. Like, this is our idea." So I had 2 days, a day to photograph all the record, like their recording session stuff, and then he says, "I kind of have this idea for an album cover, and it involves a Christmas tree and in the street. Let's walk outside." So we walk outside onto First Street. And he's like, "What do you think if you put a Christmas tree in the street?" And I said, "Whatever you want, man. I'm good. I'll take the photo. Yeah, let's do it. That sounds like a great idea." He's like, "I want to capture East LA and how we, as a band, are now back in East LA. From being in Hollywood and recording in all these other places, there's an amazing studio in East LA, and so it's like they're back home, and they're back home for Christmas." So
Nice. All right, and I'll try to bring up that cover. I did not include it in the
it's totally fine.
but I do have some others that I'd like to share of the they still call them the boys, don't they? The boys, the men.
The boy, yeah, the
The
boys.
men from East LA.
But you know that statement's true. They're just the boys from down the block, and that's just how, like, it's amazing. You know, they're a great example of you know, getting to the highest peaks of fame, and you're still humble as hell. You know, so
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, the very like you say, very humble, very hardworking. I
Yes.
mean, even during the pandemic, of course, they tried to keep close to their fans any way they could, and doing forays, outdoor concerts, drive-in concerts. Most recently in the pool area of a hotel where they
Yeah.
people who booked rooms could listen to them live.
Yeah, so imagine that, paying for a room, and you walk out to your balcony, which looks out into a pool, which has a stage over it, and behind that stage is the Pacific Ocean, and the band playing is Los Lobos. Yeah, there's that, and then what is it? The 2 days after is Big Sur, so they're playing in Big Sur in the middle of the forest. That's what they're, that was a magical moment too.
All right, and something coming up soon. A new album. I think it's coming out in July sometime, right? And what was your involvement there?
What was that? I'm sorry. The what?
Your involvement with their new.
Oh, so thanks to I'm great. I'm super indebted to Louis that again, and I tell him every time that he mentions something close to it. Like, but it's like I thank him for believing in me and my work, and allowing me to do not only the first cover and all the album art that goes into the Llegó Navidad album, but he called me back and allowed me to do the new album, which is Native Sons. And yeah, that's the one. We shot that in Montecito Heights, and he gave me an idea, and we had a few days to kind of come up with something, and just we threw a million ideas, and I said, you know what? Why don't we just go to this spot that I know that looks out into the city, because this new album is a tribute to Los Angeles. And so I said, I think we can pull this off. And some of the photographs inside the album were taken with the drone as well. So I just threw the drone up, and I think, you know what? I don't think you have that pulled up, but do you have that pulled up?
No, want me to pull it back up? Yeah, sure.
No, there's a video.
Oh, no,
Uh,
I
they're
didn't.
not-
No, I
It's
didn't.
totally fine. It's totally fine. Okay, yeah. I was like, you know what? Might as well. Let's just show that video they did. But yeah, and then because of that too, I'm again, it just they've without I get emotional every time because it's just like it's like damn the the dudes that, like the music you were listening to as a kid. It's just like those guys know your name now, and um and it's just so cool to work with them. And so I've had the honor to also shoot. Um, this is my second music video that I'm shooting for them, directing, um, and so they're soon. We don't know when yet, but um, we're working on editing right now the music video for Native Sons. So
Nice. And Native Sons is it's an album of cover music that
yes, it's
from different LA bands, different LA individuals. I know they do a cover of one of my favorite songs, "Sail on Sailor" by the Beach Boys.
oh yes.
Yeah,
So and then the next day or two you're gonna see it. So in Big Sur, um, they met up with Al Jardine, and he played with them. He played that song with them, and I'll be posting the photographs soon. But yeah, that's one of the songs. That's one of the singles right now, and I don't remember if Native Sons is so. And then they have one original song, like they did with the Christmas album. They're all covers except they wrote one original song, um, and yeah, it's a great album. They really did a great job paying tribute to the bands that influenced them and influenced Los Angeles as well. So,
all right. Well, we're all on the hour here, and
yeah.
and I mean, we had so many more to show. Tucano is the Tijuana. We had the Edge from you two. So many great photographs. Where can people find your work, Piero?
You can go to my website, which is pierofgiunti.com, or you can go to my Instagram page, and then all the links are there from all the projects that I'm working on, which is Visionary Rebel and the number 2, because I forgot the password to number 1, and I didn't know I can get it back. But
tell us what the origin of Visionary Rebel is.
so my whole life, because of being politicized and growing up or going to school in Burbank, in many ways, because of my political beliefs, I was always called the rebel, and so there's that aspect to it. And then the visionary part, it came from a friend saying, well, you're a visual person, and you always have to have this vision that looks forward to things and trying to capture the next moment. So jokingly, they called me the visionary rebel, and it just stuck with that. So yeah, sorry that the story's not that exciting, but
makes sense
yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
If any of you out there have questions, please put them in the chat or the comment section. In the meantime, here Susie Chavez is asking, was wondering if the late jazz musician Jelly Roll Morton, who's buried at Calvary, is part of your collection of musicians for your project.
No, and my research hasn't gotten me that far yet, because we're still working on it, and we're off and on. It's been, how long has it been, Abelardo?
Well, I've been at La Plaza going on 3.5, almost 4 years. I think, 4 years this month or next month. Yeah.
So then it's been 4 years that we've been working on this. And before I forget, because he's gonna kill me, Mark Guerrero, he's been a huge help in getting a lot of the artists from the East Side Sound era, which are from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and some of the 80s as well. So because it's only been honestly the two of us working on it, as you can, when there's only two people, you can just imagine how you kind of skip things here and there. But the biggest point that I want with this project, and then the reason why it's still not done, is because I don't want to leave anybody behind. I don't want to leave a genre behind. I don't want to leave anything. So, and I think with a lot of the projects done that talk about East LA or in LA in general, it's usually the same 5 faces, which we have those in the project, but what about the other artists? The artists that were really big in the scene and had a hit, but they didn't record the album, or they never got that stardom. And one of the things, because we had Memorial Day weekend, I want to tell this story, is that there's two artists from the Premiers and from the Blundell's. The singer of the Blundell's was drafted to Vietnam, and when he came back, he couldn't sing. He stopped singing, he stopped playing all these things. When we interviewed him, it was the first time, and his wife, his sister, and his brother-in-law were there, and I was just so focused on what he was saying that I happened to look over, and they're all like bawling silently, because it was the first time he's ever been able to tell his story and to talk about the music and stuff like that. The other person, I can't remember. I know his name's is Lawrence, but I can't remember his last name. The same thing. He thanked me after, because he said, because of that phone call that you guys gave me to be part of this, I finally picked up the guitar after so long. So one of the things that I want, this project has a lot of branches to it, but one of the things is I hope it heals a lot of the pain that not only the Vietnam War has caused, even the crab in the barrel mentality that a lot of us deal with, is that I hope that this project is the boiling water to those to the crabs in the barrel, and that we can all move forward and help each other and become a stronger community. Because Mickey Stevenson, his connection as well is that I asked him, why is it that Motown had such great success within the community? And he's like, because the artists not only came from the community, but the Black community wanted to see us be triumphant. And so I asked him, why do you think, so on the East Coast, the Latinos in the East Coast had Fania Records, the Cubans have the Estefans, there's no one that can, or Motown, had the African American community. What about the Latinos on the West Coast? What happened? There's nobody. And they tried having a Latino Chicano Motown, but a lot of it was the racism from the record labels, and it seems that the story from everybody so far has been that they've all been screwed, that no one really had a mentor to show them the right way of moving forward within the record industry. So to this day, I ask people, so who owns the rights to your songs? And they're like, well, the label does, or whatever. Who knows who owns it? Because Mark can tell you the story that I think he was 15 at the time when he recorded with Mark and the Escorts. No one signed a contract, but who owns that song? The like, come and get your baby. He knows now, but for a while, and he never got paid for it until now.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Piero, for all the work that you've done. Bringing together these images, getting the oral histories of so many great artists that have kind of either faded away or just have been forgotten, and really uniting the old with the new, the man and the male and the female, just the different genres, and it's a story that continues to be needed to be told. Thank you, Leticia Perez. Just a few comments here. Watching from Devore, California, musicians, artists' photos are composed of such fantastic journey, which records that East LA that has touched us in a special way. Please keep sharing. Christina Anguiano, Los Lobos are a classic group of men. Glad you were able to work with them. Looking forward to seeing the outcome. Let's see, we have Max Gallegos. Piero, thanks for being on. What's your go-to for inspiration?
It's always the old photographs. I'm a student of photography, and I'm constantly buying books or looking at magazines, and I'm a fan of many photographers. A music photographer is Danny Hastings, which I mentioned him earlier. Another one is Danny Clinch, who's an amazing music photographer who was the Grammy photographer for many years and shot the official portraits for the Grammys. Graciela Iturbide, Manuel Alvarez Bravo, so many photographers, Irving Penn, Helmut Newton, all those things. Those are all my inspirations. So I always kind of go back backwards, and then if I don't work with the newer artist, I go off of their kind of Instagram and figure out who's doing what, and try to get influenced by that as well. So
Fantastic. Well, thank you for sharing that.
yeah.
That kind of wraps it up here. Gonna
Can
wrap it up by just before we leave you, just tell you what's going on upcoming here on En Casa con la Plaza.
Abelardo, can I just say this before you do that?
Oh, go for it.
Abelardo, you are a photographer as well, and I'm going to do this publicly. Your work needs to be shown, and your work needs to be talked about as well. So John, anybody at La Plaza needs to interview you about your work as well.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah. So
right.
Yeah,
it's thank you so much. Coming up this Friday, you talked about Mark Guerrero, one of Lalo's son, his other son, Dan Guerrero. He'll be here on Friday's happy hour. Every other week we have Dan Guerrero, bon vivant, producer, musical producer, so many hats that he wears, but he's going to be, his guest is comedian Rudy Moreno from the East Side. So the funny man will join the master of Gab, Dan Guerrero, in the next happy hour. So please join us at 7 o'clock on Friday. And then next Monday and all the Mondays, we have our cooking demonstrations. So on Monday, June 7th, Nix Tamal with Marlene Aguilera. And you could catch all this information at our website, lapca.org. If you came in late to this session, or if you want to see it again, please do. We'll be posting it on our YouTube site, YouTube page at La Plaza LA. It also will live on our Facebook page at La Plaza LA and our website, LAPCA, along with all the information about upcoming programs on En Casa, plus our public programmings that will be open June 15th is when we're looking to reopening wide, along with the state of California, as long as we keep getting vaccinated, staying safe, and making this new normal as possible. So again, thank you, Piero. Any last words?
No, thank you so much. And I think I already said my last words. We need to show your work. But thank you to La Plaza and everybody for, again, believing in me and my work as well. And just I'm so totally grateful.
All right.
Thank you for everybody who came in to watch this.
All right. Well, thank you so much to you and to everybody out there. We'll see you soon at the next En Casa con La Plaza. All right. Bye-bye.